Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine podcast. Today, we've got our Financial Freedom Friday with our special guest, Mr. Nathaniel X. Ross. I'm going to go ahead and bring Nate right on into the room. Good morning, Nathaniel. How are you today? Welcome.
I am doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh yes, oh my gosh, it was my pleasure. I am so excited, everybody, for you guys to meet him. So Nate is an author, he's a life coach, he's an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and a podcast host. I'm just gonna go ahead and read a little bit of Nate. So he was raised in the poverty on the streets of Baltimore, y'all, and was a product of the Baltimore public school system. Some of y'all know about that. He was fortunate enough to meet some influential individuals that have really helped to impact his life and to just soar and to be able to get out there and help other people to be able to find the financial freedom that he has found in life. So, Nate, I didn't want to read the whole thing. I just want to just bunch it all together because look, we got some good stuff that we're going to bring to our audience today. So let's just talk a little bit about, your entrepreneurial journey. So really, what made you just want to step into being an entrepreneur? Because it's
Well,
hard.
I didn't start off wanting to be an entrepreneur. When I was younger and living in the ghettos, I met a city councilman that was campaigning, and that really turned things around for me. I was in junior high school, and I asked him who he was and why he was in the neighborhood because he was dressed up really nice in a suit and shiny shoes and all of that. And he told me he was campaigning, and that was my real first exposure to that. So I said, "You mind if I help you?" And so, I got some flyers and went door to door, he's knocking and talking to his constituents, and that was a life turning moment for me, where I ended up becoming an intern in his office. Um, and he was very instrumental, as well as the other city council people, the mayor and the governor, in getting me into college.
Oh, wow.
So where I'm from, by 18 or 25, you're dead or in jail. So I didn't really have a future per se,
Mhm.
but because I had that intersect with him, it changed the trajectory of where my life was heading. And being at City Hall, I met all kinds of people, and ended up going to college, um, and even in going to college, it was about go to college, figure out what kind of career I want. And I
Yeah.
did. I went into career. I went into higher education and started out as assistant director of residential services and worked my way up to associate dean of students
Wow.
at
Wow.
Oberlin College in Ohio. And that was my focus, my career.
Mhm.
And I met a gentleman who told me it's like you should always have a side hustle. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Because I started my career at 25. I was in the assistant director of residential services at 25.
Okay.
Um, and I had met a gentleman by the name of Jim Ranker, God rest his soul, and he pulled me aside. He was in the purchasing department for the college, but he owned a business. He owned a bus company, the big coach buses.
Yeah.
So the job at the college was just the job, but he owned his own business that was thriving. And he said to me, you got to have a side hustle. And he was the first person to say to me, you're making this money that you're not used to having. You better put your money in your retirement plan. And I listened to him. He said, do this. And I did what he told me to do. So that was the start of the entrepreneurial thing. So I started a consulting practice. It went for a little bit, but didn't flourish. Then I, went into having a beauty salon and a beauty nail salon, and then into a clothing boutique. And so I jumped around into different things at different stages of my life.
Yeah.
And it's like once I did the side hustle, once I started doing that, I enjoyed it. But I also kept my job. and kept my
Yeah.
career going. So, I became a successful officer of a Fortune 400 corporation globally.
Mhm.
So I was doing that and still running my consulting business and my
Wow.
coaching business. And actually, the reason that I'm a coach now is because it came from my job. Um, I did a lot of public speaking in my job, so it's like, huh. And I by nature I had staff that I had to mentor. So I was like, well, let me look into certification for this since I'm doing it anyway. And they actually paid for me to get certified. So it's like, just as you go, you pay attention to the opportunities that are in front of you and you take advantage of them. So that's how I got into the entrepreneurial thing.
See, and I love the fact that you kept your, that job that, that you had there. And it was like your investor in what you were passionate about, and your, as you said, your side hustles, but those were like those passion, projects and things that you're growing, and you have that investor. So I always tell people, like, don't think of, when you're trying to get out there and you're trying to start a business, and you have a job, don't think of it as, oh my God, I'm stuck in this job. No, this is your investor. Be happy that you're going to your investor and do the best job possible for your investor, because you're going to gain all the things that you need to be able to flourish here in just a little bit, And so I
Yeah.
like how you
But
brought up.
there's a precaution there too, in
Yeah,
that you can't serve two masters.
yeah,
So if whatever you're doing is your passion and that's really what you want to be doing full time, you can keep that gig going, your corporate gig or whatever it is that you got going, you can keep that going only to a certain point,
yeah,
because you're going to have to make that shift over and do your entrepreneurial thing full time if you're
yeah.
really going to be successful and thrive at it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know you have to have that focus. And I'll tell you, in my own journey, I was trying to keep both there for a moment, but COVID hit. I got laid off. So it was like, hey, you know what? Go ahead and get on to what you need to get on
Well,
to.
sometimes the universe will give you the tap that you need in order to push you in the direction that you need to go in. But a lot of
That's
people
awesome.
aren't going to walk away from their jobs, but
Right.
COVID forced them to, which made them open up and look at different opportunities, whether it's going into a different type of job
Yeah.
or doing the entrepreneurial thing.
Yeah. So how do you, I mean, you do a lot, so how do you tend to just balance everything, balancing, a personal life? I know we've talked about, you have a daughter, balancing just, all that, you've got your business, you've got your clients, you've got everything going on. So let us know, like, how do you balance that? Give us some advice on that.
Constantly reorganizing organization. Part of being a life coach is paying attention to things and dealing with situations in real time. Life is constantly changing. We're in flux, and so you have to be able to adapt and do that. And since I'm a holistic coach, the big one of the biggest things I talk about is balance. You strive to become balanced only to become unbalanced, because in order to go from one level, you get balanced in one level, but then you got to get unbalanced to go to the next level, to get balanced to then go back up. So
Okay.
as you're moving up, you're going to go through the cycle of balance, unbalance, balance, unbalance. It's the skill is learning how to navigate back and forth as quickly as possible. um so I look at life from a holistic perspective, and I look at life from the natural order of things, the natural order of life. If you follow uh the natural order of things, life is pretty good for the most part. I mean, everybody's going to have some ups and downs, right? But if you're not following the natural order, you're going to have lots of problems, lots of complications in your life, and that's where most people run into problems.
So, what do you think is the biggest mistake that our entrepreneurs, are, people that are trying to make it out there? What's one of the things that you really see out there that's kind of a mistake that they're making out there?
The most harshest way to put it would be people lying to themselves and others. Um, and there's a lot of that. People, they come out and they present the image of how successful they are at what it is that they're doing, and it's not real.
Mhm,
And most people that are in tune, or most conscious people,
mhm.
can see right through that. There are a lot of people walking around that's unconscious that buys into that, especially in the social media world.
Yeah.
Most 95% of that stuff in social media is fake. They're only giving you the glimpses of what they want you to see, not what really is. Um, or if it's real for them, they're only showing you the upside and not the downside. And people buy into it lock, stock, and barrel, and then they duplicate what they see. And I think that's just a huge mistake on most people's part. Just people need to get to the point where they are authentic,
Yeah.
and that they do the work. And most people don't want to do the work. They want to look good, they want to showboat, but they don't want to do the work in order to do those things. I'll give you an example, and of course I can't say the person's name, but someone that I had mentored um, shot this fantastic commercial with the big private yacht and the private jet and the Rolls Royce, Bentley. It was one of those cars, and you look at the commercial and you go, "Wow, I want to be like that," right?
Yeah.
And he spent $40,000 to shoot that commercial because everything was rented. Um, and and I didn't want to bust his bubble, but at the end of it, I said to him, "Well, I waited a while, and then I said, how much money did you make off of that commercial?" He said, "I didn't get one sale off of it."
Wow.
And that's what I'm talking about, trying to put that image out there.
Yeah.
And the name of the game is to put something out there that's going to be of value to someone, but also to make money in the process.
Right.
So if you're going to be imaging and showboating out there and you're not making any money at it and you're not really bringing any value to anyone's life, what are we doing?
That's right. Wow. Yeah, and there's so many people out there, like you said, you see them showboating, they're coming, down the stairs of the big planes, and they're all over the place. One day you see them in this island, the next day you see them over here, and half the time they're cropping things into, I mean, you can do so much digitally now, and you can be anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
and look like you're there, right?
Yep.
So you're so right. You need to be authentic and real, and people need to see you making the mistakes, and seeing you as human, and
Right.
not something that is up here that they can't, that they really can't reach. They're trying to aspire to, but they can't. And yeah, it's just, I don't like that, Nate. I don't like that.
Well,
So let
the thing that the one, it's interesting is that the people who are out there that are doing that, they're setting bad images and putting a bad taste in people's mouths. Most successful people, you don't even know they're successful.
That's right.
You know, I there's a book, Robert Kiyosaki, one of my associates, Robert Kiyosaki. He put out Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Hmm.
Um, you know, there, and I mean, there's a whole host of books that are out there. But even I think one of the best books that people can read, especially entrepreneurs, is The Millionaire Next Door,
Ooh, okay.
because there are millionaires that live next door to the average person, and you never know that they're
Never
millionaires.
know. Right. Wow. And see, I worked at a Fortune 500 company. It was a engineering firm, and the CEO, he used to be, he would be dressed so down. You would always know when there was something special going on because he would be dressed up, but he would come in his jeans, t-shirts, some have, it was in close to the beach, so shorts,
Yeah.
and if you just saw him on the street and didn't know who he was, you would just think, oh, just some average Joe Schmo. But this gentleman is a multi-millionaire, almost billionaire,
Yeah.
And I mean, I really loved running into him because he had real conversation with you,
Yeah, you
you
know what?
know?
It's not about the money. It's,
Yeah.
you do whatever it is that you do career wise or whatever your passion is. And that's what it's about, that it's about the relationships and the people that you connect to. The wannabes are so busy trying to project this image of their success and that they have money that they don't even understand what it is that people who have money, what they're like. Um, so I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about fitness and just some healthy habits, because you are a holistic coach. You cover a lot of areas, the as we say, the spiritual, the mental, the physical, the financial, and that's how we just resonate with each other, because you touch all those, and they all balance. And if you don't have balance in all four, sooner or later it's going to fall apart, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about your physical fitness and like what you do to stay fit, stay mentally focused, and just on point.
I think reading really helps from a mental standpoint. Reading books. I'm not as good as it as I used to be. I used to do 40 books a year. I probably
Nice.
do about 20, 25 now. But I think that, that helps me to stay mentally in tune with what's going on. As well as conversations with people, doing podcasts, whether it's my own or being a guest on someone else's, just having those intellectual stimulating conversations help
Yeah.
you stay, pretty focused. In terms of the emotional, it's about being authentic and having real relationships, being particular about who you have in your circle, and
Mhm.
having clarity on who's in your circle, or what label people get in your circle, right? So you have your inner circle of your close friends, you have the next circle of people that you are a business associates, etc. And then you
Mhm.
have that greater circle of people, all the different people you come in contact with.
Mhm.
And a lot of problems in our lives come with us mislabeling what circle to put them in. So if you got someone that's in this outer circle and you label them as your inner circle, you're going to have some serious problems because they're not going to live up to the expectations of that inner circle. So, in terms of keeping the emotional balance, et cetera, is make sure that you're putting people in the right categories when they come into your life. And then, of course, there's the physical. Um, I have a um, I have a I have a coach right now. Yeah, coaches have coaches in different
Yes.
areas, right? But I have a coach, and she's not too happy with me right now, and I understand that. But I have a fitness coach, and she, trainer, and she started me on a journey, and right now I'm like I had to stop going to the gym, but I'm working to motivate myself to go back because I can't go because of her. I have to go because of me.
Yeah.
Um, but I do my 10,000 steps a day to keep movement going. I have a health coach. We meet once a month we used to meet every week. Now we meet for 3 months. We did, and making sure that I'm eating right, that I'm exercising, that mental clarity, all those different things, that I'm sleeping
Yeah.
well. So now we meet once a month, but I can pick up the phone and call anytime. So, as far as health goes, you got to pay attention to all the areas in health, right? Um, but you should also have someone coaching you in that area. Coaches are good at what they do. And even if
Right.
you're good at what you do, you still need a coach.
Yeah.
But if you're going to get the balance that you're looking for, you have to have a coach in all those different areas. Somebody that's going to keep you on your game. And it doesn't matter how successful you become or how good at it you are, you're going to need a coach. There's
Yeah.
always somebody better than you. So that's kind of how I keep the balance and do that.
Wow, I love that. So give us 3 truths that you've learned in life or in business so far.
3 truths in life. Um, you're born to die. Time stands still for no one.
Mhm.
And time is the great equalizer. Time makes us all equal. So that's for life. And what was the other one? The 3 for life and
Oh, in business.
3 for business. In business, um, add value. Always add value. Make sure that you are networking and be supportive.
Yes, yes. Love that. Thank you. Ah, so tell me about your eating habits. What does it look like? What is your favorite healthy meal? That thing that you like to incorporate to, just really keep you going.
I'm glad you qualified health. What is my healthy meal? No, I mean I eat. I'm primarily vegetables, fruit and vegetable eater. Um,
Nice.
I mean I love Southern food. I'm a foodie. You put
Yep.
some good food in front of me, I can eat. But I am at this point in my life, I'm very conscious about what I eat.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not a fanatic about it. I mean, I follow the 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
80% of the time I'm eating the right stuff. 20% of the time I made some stuff that's not the best for me. But I've given up dairy product.
Nice.
And so no eggs, no cheese, no milk. Um, and it's not because of anything. I mean, for me, it's just that the way it makes me feel.
Yeah.
I don't eat or drink that, and I don't have the mucus drainage, the
Yeah.
sinus congestion, et cetera, so forth. Nothing against the cows or people. It's simply how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
The meat, I love meat, but meat is not necessarily good for you. I mean, it is part of how we've been socialized to eat, but we're killing something, cooking it, and then eating it. And I enjoy the taste of it.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to eat at this point in the age in my life, it's more about eating stuff that's live. You are what you eat. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. No,
I'm
it's so true. And I don't know if you notice, but I know for myself, if I do eat some meat, my stomach tells me no the next day. I mean, it may not even be the next day. It might be right after I eat it. It's just telling me like you were not supposed to eat that. I get the cramps. And I now when I eat, it's just I have a consciousness about me where it's you remember what happened last time that you ate that and how you felt. So you're not going to eat that again, and you try to just stay away from, those things.
yeah.
So I don't know for you if you get that feeling
You
as
know what?
well.
I can eat meat and not have a problem.
Mhm.
Um, but it makes me if you eat a heavy meal, you want to go to sleep afterwards, right?
Yeah,
If you're eating the healthy stuff, not so much.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell us, what does a cheat meal look like for you?
Um, some good ribs.
Yeah.
Mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese. But that's on those if I'm gonna cheat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like a big bowl of gumbo. Okay.
Oh, that's good too. But, yeah, that's good.
So tell me in our audience, what does success look like to you?
Well, let me clarify that. Are you saying what does it look like to me, or what does it look like?
Really just what does it look like? What
Okay.
does it yeah.
Well, I would say to people that listening, it's a variable, right? So you have to figure out for yourself what is your definition of success. right?
Yeah.
And from a socialization standpoint, especially here in America, you're not successful unless you're a multimillionaire. You living high on the hog, right? Or you got this prestigious title or career. And at one point in my life, I fell for that. And I'll tell you a story. Um, I coming from the streets, I always wanted the big house, the car, the yacht, and so I worked very hard for that. And by the time I was in my mid 30s, I had all of that. And what I found is that I was in a 5,000 square foot home I built from ground up. Um, I had bought my boat right off the showroom floor, bought a yacht, had the SUV, the Trans Am, the motorcycle, all the toys and the bells and whistles of what success is. And in
Yeah.
my mid 30s, I'm standing in this house looking around going, there's got to be more to life than this. And that started my spiritual quest. Um, and I had to redefine what success was for me. And to me, it's really the relationships that I have with people and what value we can bring to each other's lives.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, well, Nate, it's easy for you to say that because you got the money and the trappings of wealth. And it's like, well, you can either learn now and not waste all that time and energy, putting everything into that, or you can get there like I did and go, wow, that is not the answer. And I'm not saying no one should, try to be financially stable or to be financially wealthy. I'm just saying that that's not success. In my opinion, that's not
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
So it's, for me, again, it's the relationship, it's the people in my life.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It definitely is the people that you have in your life. So thank you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the podcast. Your podcast, Real Choices, Real Life.
Yes.
Let's tell our listeners a little bit about that podcast and when they can tune in for that and
Yep.
what kind of value they can get out of that.
Well, we started it at the beginning of this year. It comes out weekly, and we talk about real life stuff, and it's extension of like on my social media. I used to do all these postings and have people following me, and it really just became an extension of that. How can I actually uh, give information to people, but not in a 30-second or or 30-word blurb, right? Because you all that does is give you the taste, and people think it's the answer. If you're watching something on social media, they're really just giving you an introduction to, right? So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, well, how can I take it a step further? And that's why I did the podcast. And we're talking about things from a spiritual perspective, from health, family, friends. We're dealing with careers, finances, community involvement, and education. And we have real life discussions about it. And we talk about not only the good stuff, but the challenges that come with it and how to overcome some of those challenges. So it's really real talk so that people can make real decisions and real choices within their lives. And we have a ball doing it. And it's Jessica Corinne is my co host. We do that together. And Stephanie Jackson is our technical person who makes the show work. And my friends, my network. I have different guests on, and we talk about whatever their area of expertise is. And they, like I said to a couple of my doctor friends, hey, you want to come on and talk about what is it like to be a chiropractor, and why do people need to do that? And they're like, sure.
Yeah.
People who are successful don't mind helping other people, but they're not going to waste their time on people who are just BSing.
Right. Yeah. I love that. So check out the podcast. So that podcast is on Wednesdays, right?
Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So it'll be 9 a.m. Your time, Pacific time.
Awesome. Definitely tune in, everybody. Real choices, real life. So, Nate, do you have any final words, any final thoughts or words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our listeners today?
I would say get your finances in order. Finances are, while it is its own category, it's connected to everything else. So if your finances aren't right, it's going to have an impact on you spiritually, right? And for those who are Christians, because I did a session with someone that was Christian, and so we had to do the conversation.
Mhm.
The Bible talks over 400 times about finances. So if you're reading your Bible and you're a Christian, pay attention what the Bible is telling you. But in any spiritual realm, you need to. I don't think there's any. I might be wrong, and somebody can correct me, but I don't think there's any that don't ask for contributions towards the congregation or assembly or whatever, right?
Mhm.
So if you don't have your finances in order, you can't contribute spiritually
Right.
because you don't have it to. And if your finances are jacked up, guess what? Your health is going to be jacked up because your health costs money, right? And if
Mhm.
you can't pay your bills, how are you going to do the health stuff? Because health is extremely expensive.
It
And
is.
I'm not even talking about just traditional health, but alternative health.
Right.
Because people need to look at alternative medicine in addition to Western medicine and
Mhm.
use complementary of the two.
Yes.
And then finances, in terms of your relationships, if you can't help somebody if you can't help yourself. And there are a lot of people out there trying to help other people and lending money and destroying their relationships, and then they're upset because they didn't get their money back from the person. Well, you couldn't afford to lend
Yeah.
it in the first place, so you shouldn't have.
Mhm.
But it also, in terms of educating and being involved in the community, you got to have your finances straight. And if you can get your finances straight, what you'll find is in those other areas will start to balance out and settle down. Um, so that would be my word of advice is, you know, uh, get your finances straight. And if you are, if you do have your finances straight, then work on obtaining the wealth because obtain that wealth so that you can reach back and help other people. So I know that with the Own It platform and with your Phoenix Fitness Fanatic
Mhm.
magazine, we're going to be doing a financial boot camp that's going to be coming up soon. And I know we're doing a special rate. The rate is normally like $1,500 for the course. It's a 3-month course, 2 hours, once a week video conference.
Mhm.
But we're doing special rate for Own It and for fitness. Um, Phoenix
Fitness.
Fitness magazine.
Tongue tie.
That's a tongue twister there. But we're doing a $600 rate for. I know the staffing for for the organizations, but my understanding is that we're opening it up to your listeners as well. So you know,
Oh, awesome. Oh, that is going to be so awesome. So, everybody, if you are interested in learning how to get those finances right, get yourself, get the wealth, being able to establish wealth in your life so you can thrive and you can also help others to thrive in the world, you definitely want to connect with Nate and get yourself into that boot camp. You can connect with Nathaniel. We've been having his website below during this broadcast. Definitely connect. And if you want to also subscribe to Phoenix Fitness Fanatics magazine, we also have Nathaniel in there as one of our contributing writers, as we like to cross pollinate between all of the family in the Own It publishing platform. So, Nate, I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an amazing interview. And everyone, I want to thank y'all for joining us. Definitely tune in next time when we will be having Nate back again, because you said a few things, Nate, that kind of got me going, got those creative juices going. And I think we're going to have to definitely have you back and definitely have you come back with some knowledge. So thank you so much. Have an amazing Friday. Have an awesome weekend, everyone. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care.